Now that's a damn fine game. I want your Timothy Chalamet pillow in the background.
Can you see him in the background?
You can see his hairline, yeah. But you could prop him up a little bit.
You can see Timmy?
Yeah, I can't see Timmy. If you
just from the top of my head, sometimes when I used to stay here at night, I used to think it was me. Like, I used to get really weirded out because just from the top of the head, you can't tell it's anyone.
Wait, he doesn't have a widow's peak?
He might. It's kind of hard to say.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean? Like, he could. Like,
he
his
could.
line's not like super pronounced.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Yeah, and right there you can't tell you have one. So, okay, fair enough. And he's got a swoop too.
He does.
Hello and welcome. This is going to be a review discussion for the 2015 interactive horror drama by Supermassive Games, Until Dawn. Joining me for this discussion is Late to the Party podcast host and producer, also my girlfriend, Nikki Jensen. Nikki, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Ben, or Hitbox, whatever you like to be called.
You can call me Ben. Once we get the podcast going, it's like, Hitbox Detective is more of like a, it's like a username. But once
Ben, Mr. Scott, if you're nasty.
Exactly.
Okay.
So for those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and your gaming background.
Okay. So yeah, like Ben was saying, my name is Nikki Jensen, and I've been a professional actor for about 10 years, and I love movies. I host a film and pop culture podcast called Late to the Party. And
you can check that out on all podcast services.
You can. Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, the works. But yeah, my experience with video games is none.
Hey, you're not giving yourself enough credit. You're better than me at Super Mario World.
Okay, Super Mario World is like my thing. Like that's where it starts and where it stops. A little Donkey Kong here and there, but I will do speed rounds of Super Mario World.
Yeah.
Like I'm that good at that.
Yeah, you know all the secret paths?
Nah, 100%.
Yeah. That's cool.
Britney's Dance Beat for the Game Boy Advance. I was also really great at that.
I bet you were. You probably knew all the choreography already.
100%.
You just had to get those button presses down.
For sure. For I'm a Slave for You, that was always a tricky one.
Which, Until Dawn wasn't in there, but now Until Dawn is, and that also challenged your button presses.
That's true. But this is like my first time playing a proper game. A couple months ago, I watched you play The Last of Us, which kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
As far as how far video games have come. But yeah, I'm just like a noob, as they would say.
Yeah. Well, Until Dawn, the reason I picked it was because, you have a film and like movie background and you're an actress. And so I thought you would appreciate the cast and the kind of interactive movie aspects of this game. And then also when you had your hands on the controller, the QuickTime events would teach you the buttons and where they are on the controller. And you would get to learn some like twin stick, like walk and move the camera around in kind of a slower environment. Something that's not like a fast-paced shooter. Like I would imagine like if you try to pick up Halo or something and dive right into it, that might be.
Yes. Okay, Ben.
What?
Speaking of like video game background stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Besides like my Super Mario World and Donkey Kong expertise, I have had people in the past be like, oh, you gotta play Halo. You gotta play Call of Duty.
Okay.
And those games would give me a headache because of the camera.
Oh, yeah. Do you like stop walking, then move the camera?
And then like look around up and down.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so this game was really fun in that way because it does play like a movie.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested on that level. And then it really, I think what I'm trying to say is you succeeded 100%.
Oh, cool.
Goals.
Cool.
So.
Well, I have a couple of games planned. for us, and we will slowly over the, for, these videos, I'll do discussions with lots of people, but you specifically, I want to kind of like bring you up to speed on gaming and always kind of make sure that you spend some time with the controller in your hand and slowly learn the controls and get that feel, so that someday maybe we can like play through Halo with like split screen co-op or something and play through it together, and or play games on our own and come together and talk about them. And even though I do enjoy doing the shared experience, but either way, it would be cool. And it would be cool to track that progression through these episodes.
Oh, I'd love to do that with you.
Yeah, cool. So, for the listeners, we're going to have a top-down, spoiler-free discussion of the game. Then we'll dive into spoiler discussions and give our deeper thoughts on the story, characters, and gameplay. And then we'll just kind of wrap up with our final thoughts. Before we get into the meat and potatoes, I wanted to ask, and you briefly touched on it, what do you think about an interactive experience like Until Dawn as opposed to a traditional video game experience, like something like Super Mario or Halo or something like that?
Yeah. I think both have their time and place. Like they're both really fun.
Yeah.
Like this is fun in like I know you were talking about, just to me, you were talking about how you would play this maybe with like friends. And you'd just like binge it essentially and just like pass the controller around and do it in one or two sittings.
Yeah.
And like I think that's really fun. But I understand the merit in all types of video games. Like
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about it, but I get all types, and this is fun.
Cool. Yeah, this lane, I would say, is like oddly sometimes controversial, because when Until Dawn came out, I believe it was $60. And some people look at a game like this being $60 that you can beat in like 8 hours. And yeah, you can replay it a number of times, but once you kind of play it like 2-3 times, that's like a total of like 32 hours, maybe, best case scenario. And then, or like 24, I guess, really. And then, you could also spend that $60 on something that you play for like 100 hours. And some people like feel a little burned by that, but I don't know. I'm in the camp of like, I kind of like it. Like I like being able to play something and be out. And, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I have a stake in the game or whatever as far as that goes, but I had a fun time with Until Dawn. It was
Cool.
more up my alley, anyways. Like I understand why you'd pick this for someone that doesn't play video games,
Mm-hmm.
because it plays like a movie. And it's
Yes.
fun.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of fun. So we can go ahead and jump right into the top-down review discussion.
Let's do it.
The story takes place with a couple of kids that all get together at their friend's, like, parents' cabin. They pull a prank that goes awry. Some things happen, and then a year later they come back together, and the cabin's kind of like not really been visited in a year. There's like cobwebs everywhere, and these friends are kind of getting together and kind of remembrance of what took place the year before. And there's also something going on the mountain, which adds an interesting flavor to it. Just top down, what are your overall feelings on the story in Until Dawn?
I enjoyed it. It really reminds me of, and I don't know if this was intentional or not. I'm assuming it is. It really plays like an early 2000s like teen horror film.
Mm-hmm.
Like it reminds me of like a Cabin Fever, or like the flavor of the month like teen horror film in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So
It's got
so
some
there was a
Friday the
little bit
13th
of,
energy.
for sure. So
So,
there was like the horny teens. There was the like supernatural element, so to speak.
yeah.
There was
The,
like the real life danger. It just played out like that.
yeah, the internal drama between
Yeah.
some of these friends with like air quotes around it, spurned lovers, meeting people's like new girlfriends and stuff like that. Yeah, that was interesting. I think like if you're looking for this to be Hereditary, the video game, you're gonna be like, yeah, you're gonna be a little upset. But if you look at it like it's gonna be that teen horror drama and an interactive kind of movie vibe, then if you go in with those expectations, you're gonna walk away like really happy with it.
Yeah.
But I guess we can move on to gameplay. From your time playing the game, how did you feel about everything from the quick time events, which are like press square now, like those moments, and even kind of like the walking around and exploring these like rooms and hallways and stuff like that?
I really enjoyed it. Not to go back to Britney's dance beat, Ben,
Did this
but
game remind you of Britney's dance beat?
100%. I've been training for this my whole life. So like, it just like it took a while for me to remember it. But
Yeah.
like when you like in Until Dawn, like when they're climbing and stuff, you press like square or triangle, and that's how you progress.
Yeah.
I guess you'd say,
Yeah.
which
'Cause
is very much like Britney's dance beat.
yeah, you can make a fatal error.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
But
oh sorry.
well, go ahead. Sorry.
I was
No, go ahead.
off the button presses. That's the only thing is like sometimes I wonder like if you failed to hit every QuickTime event, would like Hayden Panettiere like have slipped and fallen to her death? I don't know. Or
I don't kn- Yeah. No, I kind of know though. Remember when, because like truth be told, I didn't play this whole game. Like if I played this whole game, it would have taken like years,
it would have taken a
um,
while.
for sure. We'd be like old and gray by the time we were doing the spoiler cast,
Yeah. We'd be skeletons.
but for sure. But I feel like did I kill someone or did I like really injure someone? I feel like there was a time when I didn't hit the buttons fast enough. I remember that.
Yeah, I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but I do think that I think some of the QTE stuff kind of, or like the choices that you have to kind of make on the fly, I think those things can affect the story in like a major way. But the button press moments of like, you're running through the woods, I don't know how often those can actually get somebody killed because, I would have to like look up a guide and take a look at it, but
Yeah.
like it always kind of seemed like the story was funneling into one area no matter what. And
Hmm.
like, I'll save it for when we get to the spoilers, but like I know I've made a different choice before in the game, but the game still made us do the opposite of what you picked, but I had picked
Hmm.
the other. And so it does kind of like force your
Okay.
hand in some ways. And so I guess if you played it multiple times, you can start to either see the chips in the paint or how the game is functioning. And some people would either knock that or not. But I do think that the game was clever in how it kind of connected those things. But well, again, we'll save that for the spoiler part of
For
this
sure.
discussion.
Oh, wait,
Anything?
wait. To answer your,
Yeah.
sorry,
No, yeah,
but just to
go.
answer, okay, to answer the second part of your question though. So like walking around, like just like the halls and the cabin and whatnot,
Yeah, like finding
really adds
totems.
100%. That totally adds to the suspense of
Mm.
this game. And I think it's what makes the game because it's like a horror game, so you want that element of suspense,
Mm-hmm.
which going into this, I did kind of question. I was like, how do you go into this and kind of feel those feelings? And that elicits those feelings. I think so. Walking around really creates the suspense.
Yeah. Yeah, I can think of one moment in particular where without getting too spoilery, it's where like Chris and Ashley are alone
Mm-hmm.
and there's stuff going on, but it's all happening during the free roam sections. And it's just like connected with these, I don't want to call them set pieces, but little things that are kind of happening, but like you're exploring in between. And like as you hit the right stage that triggers the next thing, then it like activates that. So that it like almost ensures that the camera is going to be facing the right way when it happens so that you see it and you're not like looking somewhere else. And, you know, for a 2015 game like this, I think until Dawn kind of raised the bar. You know, there's a lot of studios like you would almost look at like the Telltale games that were they did like a Walking Dead like spin-off series that was very similar to this. There was like exploration beats, quick time events, decisions that had to be made, and it was done in this like cell shaded, cartoonish kind of looking aesthetic. But it was really, it had a really good story to tell. And then there's a studio called Quantic Dream, which we will play a lot of their games. I think the first one we're going to end up playing is Heavy Rain, and I think a lot of people looked at what Until Dawn did and like look back at Quantic Dream like, you gonna let them put
Huh.
you in checkmate like this, dude? And I don't know. It does a lot right, I think, and then and like raise the bar in these interactive kind of like interactive movie style games. Next, really quick, I thought we would talk about any issues we experience, and I think really outside of a little bit of jank and like
That one bug.
yeah, every time you start the game, after like maybe what like 5-10 minutes, it'll like a network error occurs that pulls you out
Mm-hmm.
and brings you to the main menu, and you just have to hit resume and it goes back.
That's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's a little annoying if it happens in the middle of like a heated moment or like right before a quick time event or something like that. That might throw you off, but outside of that, I think I don't know.
They have
What do you
creepy
think?
teeth.
It's funny you say that because that's a thing. People have said that they have really creepy teeth. So
It
it's funny
is a
that,
thing.
yeah, it's funny that you caught that. But if if you had to score this game in any kind of way,
Okay.
what is the Nikki Jensen score for this? Like first, like what's your do you rate on like a 10-point scale or a 5-point scale or a 2 thumbs up? What do you do?
Like a Siskel and Ebert, two thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, did you ever do that? Like, I know with like my family, like when we go to see movies, like the movie trailers,
Mm-hmm.
we're always like after every trailer, we're like thumbs up or like I don't know.
Oh no, I've never done that. I always
Oh,
did the whisper like that movie looks like it sucks, you know,
ah,
or like I want to see that. We got to come back and see that. Like that was usually my thing.
gotcha. I don't know. Like five out of five is good.
Okay. Yeah, wow. You say it's a 5 out of 5?
No, 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 no. Rating it off
Oh,
of
okay.
five.
On a 5-point
Ten's too
scale. Okay.
much.
Okay.
Ten's too much.
Yeah, 10 is
Um,
too granular. I don't like a 10-point scale.
no. I would say it's 3.5 scary teeth or
Okay.
whatever we're rating it on or
Yeah.
what totems.
Yeah, totems. 3.5 totems out of 5. Yeah,
3.5 totems.
you know, I think I would actually agree with you on that. There's part of me that contextually wants to look back to 2015 and be like, okay, maybe this was a 4 because it's a
Yeah.
little above average, and it also pushes the envelope in some really interesting ways and kind of broke new ground. And like one like how it looks, and also like the star-studded cast and stuff like that. That stuff like that is like, oh wow, what they're doing is really cool. And they kind of, like I was saying, like everybody kind of like looked back at Quantic Dream like, dude, this studio just came out of nowhere and made this like, albeit short but like interesting game and like your style, and it's
Yeah.
really good, and or at least like really fun and interesting. And so there's part of me that's like, oh man, this is really cool, and wants to give him that extra half a point. But I think 3 out of 5 is probably like a really fair score. So
I mean, 3 out of 5 death or totems, and then a Hayden Panettiere and a towel.
yeah.
Just that extra something. We can do that.
Or them pants.
Ben, what is up with you and those pants?
They did that on purpose, bro. She was caked up.
Cool with those pants.
They were like, yeah, she's got to climb up this cliffside. And, we got to shoot it low so you can see how tall the cliff is, right? Well, okay, so that'll wrap up our review discussion. So now this is your warning. We're going to get into spoilers. So if you're like getting ready to play the Quarry and you want to go back and play Until Dawn, now's your time to pause this. Go play Until Dawn. It's included with the PlayStation Plus library of games, like collection. So if you have PlayStation Plus, go download it. It's free. And then come back and do the spoiler cast. And then, yeah. So, okay, Nikki, now we can really peel back the curtain. So we can start with the story.
Okay.
The gang all gets together at this cabin. They're having a good time. A lot of people were like passed out. I don't know if you remember, but like,
yeah.
I think we were playing as Hannah, going and like we were like looking through people's phones and like trying to figure out where, or maybe we were playing as Beth and we were looking for Hannah. I can't remember that specifically, but they pulled this prank on Hannah because she's crushing for Mike, leaving all these like letters to or like journal entries about him, and they pull this prank where they like are under the bed and they have a camera and really just did some really uncool stuff, and they die. What did you think about that?
You just went straight to that. You're like, die.
Yeah, I was like trying to figure out a way, but I was like, oh, you're also just kind of like recapping the story, which isn't necessary because if anybody's watching this, they've played it, so they know. So it's not necessary to do it. But
because of that like terrible prank, they both die.
Yes. Hannah and Beth, the twin sisters.
Yeah.
Josh's twin sisters. And, Mike, I believe Emily is responsible. Ashley was there. I don't know if Jessica was there. I think Jessica was Mike's new girlfriend. Right?
Yeah.
Like how Matt wasn't there.
They established
originally.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and Hayden's clearly like not down with this. I don't even think she was there for it. Like she was probably taking a bath somewhere.
She's always taking a bath.
Those baths are real important,
I know, Ben, you're a bath person, but I say never take a bath. And this video game kind of proves that.
Oh, wow. That's a hot take.
Hot take. No, I love a good... If I was relaxed enough, I'd take a bath. But you got to keep one eye open, Ben.
Yeah. What did you think about the setup for this game? Because, they end up coming back to kind of honor Hannah and Beth like a year later. So in terms of how they set up the story or plot for this game, how did you feel about that?
I liked it. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things I just rolled with. I don't know. I'm not like, ooh, it's a tour de force. Like, brilliant.
Yeah.
But, like, I enjoyed it. I thought it made sense enough. And I did like the setup. I've never seen a video game grounded in so much realism.
Okay. Like, even The Last of Us.
Experience. Yeah.
Yeah, even The Last of Us has, like, well... It does have a supernatural element to it, but I would say The Last of Us is pretty grounded. But this does feel, because we've never, like, a post-apocalypse isn't necessarily realistic for us, so it is kind of, like, unrealistic in that way. But I will agree. Like, it does feel like something that would have happened in high school at a party
Yeah.
with people drunk. Someone's going to do something like the most uncool shit I've ever seen happen. That's like just uncool, not like atrocious or like, completely terrible, but just like uncool. All took place in high school. Just like bullying and like being like really just like taking advantage of people's insecurities and manipulating them. Like teenagers
Oh,
are the worst.
oh, for sure. I was a bully. I've been bullied, so I can relate to that for sure.
Yeah. I like that how freely you admit that you've bullied people.
Yeah.
Because I think anybody that's been bullied is guilty of also bullying somebody. Because eventually you have that moment where like, you're at summer camp and someone's younger than you and you like push them off the dock into the water or something. And then afterwards you feel bad about it and you're like, why'd I do that?
I mean, I don't even think it's that black and white. I think like bullying. It's like in this to bring it back to Until Dawn.
Yeah.
Like
Thank
they
you.
are bullying. Was it Hannah? Beth?
Yeah.
Hannah or Beth?
It was Hannah.
Hannah. They are bullying Hannah, but they are also her friends.
Yeah. But
So like
what they
people
did was
can
not friendly at all.
for sure.
Yeah.
But that's like my level of bullying I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Or being a bully is I've also done that to people. You know what I mean? I think it's just like dumb teenager stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
Luckily,
I like that premise.
yeah. I agree. I was gonna say that I think yeah. Luckily, your bullying didn't lead to the death of twins.
Who knows, Ben? You don't know,
Yeah, I guess so. The butterfly effect, right?
right? No, I did like the butterfly effect. I don't know. Since we're talking about spoilers, I don't know how that really played. Like that didn't really. We didn't get a payoff at the end
Mm.
regarding the butterfly effect.
So what I think
But I
was
thought it was
happening.
cool that they set it up.
Totally. Sorry, I did. I thought you had you
No,
paused
no,
for
no.
a
Go
second. You
ahead.
may have been buffering.
I might
Well,
have.
well, the butterfly effect. The way I think it was like kind of working is that when you make a decision, that you see the butterfly effect icon kind of like flash. What that does is I think it changes the way that people interact with you or the options you have for dialogue when you're making a decision. Like if you're playing as Mike and you've made him like kind of a jerk and like chose that path for him while you were playing, then his options for dialogue or the way that people interact with him is like kind of more in line with, well, he's been a jerk all night.
Oh,
But
okay.
for the most part, I think we were trying to play with the best intentions for everybody. There is that like in the beginning where you're like, I want everyone to be a jerk, but then as you keep going, you start going, oh, hold on, I want to reel that in because I want all these kids to live. What are you gonna say? What's up?
So, like, when we first started playing, there was that instinct of me to be an instigator
Mm-hmm.
and just be like, oh, what's the craziest thing I can do or say or like rile up the most drama.
Mm-hmm.
But as it went on, I was really like into, like, I loved having the power to create who these characters are.
Yeah.
So I was creating like Chris to be more of an arrogant douchebag, and I was creating like Mike to be nicer. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
being like more love. I was doing it with those intentions. Like I like in my mind, I created these characters along the way
Yeah. It,
by
it
based on their actions.
it was fun to play this game with like after we were kind of like, okay, the Quarry's about to come out, we got to hurry up and do this Until Dawn review discussion, and we like put the controller in my hands, but like a decision would come up and you'd be like, do that, like you would be like shouting out what the choices for me, and basically it was like I was just playing the QuickTime events, but you were making all of the decisions. And
For sure. And sometimes they didn't align with yours.
yeah, yeah, there were times I was like, what? Okay, I felt like I was playing The Last of Us. So, like I was like, I don't want to do this, but I have to because I have no other option. But yeah, I think like so like you know they set up that premise, and then they all come back to the house, and from there new characters get introduced. We get to meet Jessica and Matt, and I like how
The brother,
the brother.
Josh.
Well, Josh was sleeping, passed out on the counter at the first
Oh,
in the beginning.
gotcha.
Yeah, but
Fair point.
yeah, he does like you know he has set all this up and is inviting everybody out for like one last hurrah before college, I'm guessing, and also to commemorate the death of his sisters, which is funny because you know I know we're in the spoiler section, so I can go ahead and say it, but I when I first played the game, I never for a second thought Josh was going to be the killer, or not really the killer, but like kind of like the fake out. Like you think it's like you don't think it's going to be him, then you think it's him, and then you find out that it's not him. And I think that like the way like a really good horror movie that does this, like the teen horror movie, like a Scream or something like that, you think you're like, oh, that's the person for sure, and then you keep you keep getting reasons to not think that, and you start to question yourself, and you go, well, shit, now I have no fucking clue who it's going to be. Like I don't know what's going on, and then it happens, and you're like, oh, now if I go back, I can see that trail of breadcrumbs. And then also see how the things I thought were tipping me off weren't actually tip-offs to dissuade that. And I think Until Dawn does that in a way that maybe people give it credit for, but I haven't heard him give it the game credit for doing it, so I'm going to do it. I think it does that really well. Like you think it's going to be the stranger with the flamethrower for a while, and then, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I don't know if I felt that way.
Okay.
Like I was open to anyone and everyone. Um Probably because I've seen so many Scream movies because I love those films.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought it was a bit a flamethrower for a second. I just kind of was like open to whoever it was. I just wasn't sure. But then once it was revealed that it was Josh, I was like, oh, he's the only one with a motive. Why
Yeah.
didn't I ever think it was him? Because he's the only one with a motive.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And what's funny is because like sorry I got like kind of like lost in a thought there for a second because when you said that it was Josh, my immediate thought was, oh wait, no, it's the Wendigos. But then I was like, wait, hold on a second, who it's like there is this like second phase to the game
Yeah.
where you're like, okay, so everything else that was happening, kind of like the beginning, what could have just been the plot on its own, is like over, but now there's this other thing happening, this like bigger picture thing that's been happening the whole time, but ends up bringing Hannah and Beth back into the picture in a weird way, which I have a question. I know we're not at the end of the game yet.
Yeah. It's okay.
But at the end, fuck it, we're going for it.
Right.
You see Hannah with the butterfly tattoo on her arm, but she's a Wendigo. And earlier, you see Beth's head sitting on like some semblance of a body. But do you think, because we find out that you become a Wendigo from resorting to cannibalism on the mountain, do you think Hannah and Beth didn't necessarily die? Or maybe Beth died, but Hannah didn't? They were trapped in the cave and she started to eat Beth and became a Wendigo?
It's possible. I they left that up for interpretation for sure, but that's a possibility.
I think it may be because remember we even find the tombstone for
Yeah,
Beth. Who would have buried her?
that's a
Hannah,
good point. Unless
right?
it was, yeah, right? No one else. Unless a flamethrower man?
Yeah, the
Who
stranger.
else
I
was
mean,
there?
it could have been the stranger. I don't know, but I don't know. That's what I thought, especially during this playthrough. I don't know if I thought that the first time, but maybe I didn't find the tombstone the first time. That's the thing.
Maybe not.
Is like there could be all these like layers and details that we didn't find because we weren't exploring enough or digging around. But I think that's what's great about video games is that they can do that. And like hearing somebody like in like water cooler gossip talk about what they found makes you want to go back and replay it, especially because it's so
Yeah.
short. You can play it in 8 hours or probably less.
Yeah.
But
For sure. I'm really curious to see if there is more.
yeah, yeah, especially to find out some of those like smaller details, like did Hannah eat Beth? You know.
She could have. I mean, it's a possibility for sure.
So throughout the game, you have these like little intermissions
Sorry.
with hey no you're okay, it's late, it's like 10:37 right now and we've both been up since really early. So there are these little like interstitials because the game's 10 chapters are broken up into episodes and there's even like a recap for the last episode that plays, so you could almost like play an episode, put it down, and come back, but each one kind of ends with these therapy sessions with this man called Dr. Hill. What did you think about those segments throughout the game? Because remember, you were like basically like not looking at Rorschach tests, but like looking at pictures and like saying how they made you
Yeah.
feel and certain characters and how they made you feel and stuff like that. Like what did you read into all that?
I I didn't read into it too much. I really didn't try to read into this game too much,
Mm,
to
okay.
be honest, but I really did enjoy those segments because it did make me feel like I had autonomy over these characters. And that was the thing that I was like really jazzed about and impressed by. So I
Yeah.
like loved going into the therapy sessions and being like, oh, I choose Hannah over Mike, or I want Ashley to live and not Emily, you know?
Yeah. I
And and that like created a level of suspense because I didn't know why they were asking me these questions because I also didn't know who was in these therapy sessions. It was fun.
yeah. Yeah, it oddly puts you in the mindset of how Josh is thinking about these things without you knowing. So Josh almost in a way becomes who he does. The character doesn't really like necessarily change, but like his kind of like deranged outlook on the situation instead of it being really grounded. Sorry, I took a sneaky sip of water. Um his kind of like
Sneaky sip.
I know that there was just like a pregnant
I'm just
pause in there,
kidding.
but I think he has these kind of like he would be looking at it like I hate him and I don't like her and picking preferences and who did me wrong and stuff like that.
Oh.
And so it makes sense for it to be him. What I liked about those segments, excuse me, was how each one happened. The room they're in slowly like deteriorates, and at one point Dr. Hill has like a cut on his face or like some blood on him, and you can start to see like mold in the corners of the room and the wallpaper's peeling off and trees are growing through the windows, and it slowly just gets worse and worse as things for Josh get worse and worse. And sometimes I wonder if Dr. Hill is like Josh's like Jiminy Cricket. His
Maybe.
what do they call that?
Oh,
His
goodness.
conscience.
Yeah,
Is that
his
what they call Jiminy Cricket?
yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, his conscience.
Yeah, and him kind of like the internal struggle, like trying to like wrangle in his own thoughts, but also giving you that opportunity because I think from a gameplay perspective, the game really does want you to look at it that way of like, ooh, people can die and there's this butterfly effect, and it is kind of like using those moments to keep you thinking that way about it
Hmm.
instead of just being like, maybe it's their way of disguising the story funneling into the direction that it's going, and really the choices come down to like who lives, who dies, you know. Which over the course of the game, minus Hannah and
Hmm.
Beth, we lost two people, right?
Yes.
The first of which was Jessica, who we thought was
Yeah.
dead for a really long time. And what did you think about losing characters based on choices you made?
I sorry. Oh my God. I am so sorry. I was here for it. I know. I really enjoyed all the characters. Like we didn't even talk about the star-studded cast, Ben.
Okay,
Like,
yeah. I
I mean,
figured
I don't
when we
want
got to characters we would touch on that, but
to okay.
if you want to talk about it, let's go.
But I don't want to lose Scream Queen Hayden Panettiere
Yeah.
or the
That
girl from Ice Princess. I don't want to lose her. Or the girl from Camp Rock. I don't want to lose
yeah.
that bitch either. I mean,
Wait, did
girl.
these
Sorry.
actresses actually were they actually in those things that you're
Yeah.
or they
Yeah.
were? Holy smokes. Okay.
Hayden Panettiere was an Ice Princess, which is what I know her from,
Oh,
and Scream
okay.
4. And then the girl with the box braid, like the
Oh,
boxer braids.
yes. Yeah. Wait, she was in
She's from Camp Rock.
Really?
Yeah, she's like
I
the
never
one who
saw Camp
sings that
Rock if I'm being
like,
honest.
oh well, it's okay. You had to be there.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
just yeah, maybe it's funny cuz I thought until this very moment that
Uh-huh.
Hayden Panettiere and Rami Malek were the only two actors. The rest were like just people did the voice acting in the mocap, but they changed what they look like, almost like a Ashley Johnson and
Oh.
Ellie kind of situation. I thought
I
that's what was going
mean,
on, but okay.
I know the girl from Camp Rock when I see her, Ben. Don't make me like sing a Camp Rock song right now with some choreography.
I've seen some terrible like clips from that movie, so please
So
don't.
bad. Off mic, off camera.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but what was I gonna say? So I don't want them to die, but for the story, I'll let them die.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
I'll be the puppeteer. I'll like, kill them off.
is there any part of you that wants to replay it to try to save everybody?
No.
No? Wow.
No, it's not fun. I am like
Yeah.
totally down for the sake of the story. Like,
Yeah.
why would we do all this if no one dies? This is a horror film that I'm
Yes.
creating in my mind. Why would I no one if someone has to die?
Yeah. It's just unfortunate that it came down to Hayden
It's
or to
true.
Sam, you know. So that leads me to want to talk to you about the totems, because the
Uh-huh.
totems you find through the exploration segments of the game, and they give you glimpses into different things. Like some would be like death totems that would show you characters dying, and so you go, oh shit, this person is up for grabs, like it
Hmm.
can happen. And then you would get like a guidance totem that would kind of show a character in an area of a room or something, and so you kind of like, when you are in that area and you see it, you're like, oh, there's something over here, I need to go. And then there was like, maybe like there's a number of them, but like some of them would like show you like guidance things that like things to interact with. And um how did you feel about, like, were you ever like trying to really remember totems or like think back to them when we were going through to like guide your judgment in any way?
Oh yeah, I was always conscious of totems.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
I feel like I let go of them completely.
Oh no, no, no. I feel like I didn't. I was just trying to play these characters out.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, do I want this well, like sometimes I would be like, oh, well there's a death totem and this is how they're gonna die. But that's what I envision of this character anyways. Or the opposite. I'd be like, oh, I want to save them.
Yeah.
I just wanted to play the game.
So, did you ever kill anyone on purpose because you knew what would lead up to their death? Like, did you kill Jessica on purpose? I know you didn't kill Sam.
Yeah, I didn't kill Sam. Um,
That felt like an accident.
well, who is it that I really did not want to kill, but I did it by accident? Was that Sam?
I mean, Sam was at the very end, and Jessica was when we were with Matt. Remember Matt and Jessica, and they're trying to get out of the mine, and just as she's like about to walk out, she gets snatched up by the Wendigo.
I think it was her, but don't quote me on it. There was someone though where my bad judgment killed them and I did not want them to die. But
So,
then I also did want Chris to shoot himself.
oh
So
yeah, you did.
so there was that.
Yeah, but there were blanks in the gun. That was wild. Yeah, that and yeah, we didn't even talk about it. You picked Josh over over Ashley with the saw blade.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that was what I was talking about earlier is that was a moment where when I was playing, I was like I can't kill Ashley. Like I can't kill a woman on this mountain. Sorry, Josh, you got to go. I know that that's your whole family's lineage being cut off from the rest of history by doing this, but I'm doing it because I'm not going to kill Ashley. But you were like, you paused, you took a beat, and you went, kill Ashley. And that
Well,
was a moment
yeah.
I turned and I was like, what? Are you out of your mind? How are you doing this? But when we did it, it still killed Josh. And it's because Josh has the whole thing set up. But what I thought was interesting about that, and I wonder if you like caught it as it was happening. Later on, Ashley says like, "Thanks for saving me," and Chris kind of goes, "Yeah, don't mention it," because
Yeah.
he knows he didn't pick her. Or we like we were playing as Josh in that moment. So, but like, what did you think?
That
Did
adds
you?
some spice.
Yeah, it was, and they didn't have to do that. Like the voice actor ran that line when like it would be totally different if we had picked Ashley. He would have maybe the inflection of his voice. So they had to have like would be different. So they had to have like two voice tracks for that. And
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. Or they could have been clever enough to make the same one kind of sound like it went both ways, which would be pretty genius. But what did you feel about kind of those moments that really do feel like it's asking you to pick one or the other? Like there was the one moment where I intervened because
Yeah.
I thought I was like when we were doing the investigating, they said that they could mimic the sounds of the Wendigos can mimic the sounds of humans,
Hmm.
and I think it was Ashley was like walking through the mines or like the underground, and we heard someone just like kind of not really saying words, but just like kind of screaming like maybe like one word, like a parrot almost, and
Yeah.
I just had a feeling, and I was like, hold on, Nikki, I think that's a Wendigo. We shouldn't investigate. Let's just get back with the group. Those moments. What did you think about those moments?
Oh, I liked them. They added an interesting element. Like I said before, I like this whole autonomy in a video game thing because that's like new to me.
Yeah.
But I appreciated you because I like totally will go off the rails and I'll be like, burn everything to the ground. And I liked your like, wait a second. We do want some people to live That
Yeah.
was a good point. You were right. You were good. Thank you, Ben.
Hey, yeah, no worries. I'll do anything for Ashley. And while playing that game, out of everybody, we let's go ahead and dive into characters because we have.
Yeah.
I think we all have favorite characters. And where's my iPad's over there. While we were playing, folks, I handed my iPad to Nikki, and
Yeah.
she took meticulous notes while we were going through. I'm actually gonna grab my iPad really quick.
Okay.
Vamp for me, Nikki.
Okay. So yeah, I took a lot of notes. I was a big fan of Ben's Apple Pencil.
So much so you went
Um,
out and bought one, but you bought the
yeah,
generation that your iPad doesn't support, which kind of stinks.
whatever.
Hey, you had
But
no way of
I
knowing.
mean, I didn't know. But yeah. Sorry, I forgot what we were talking about.
Your notes.
But I have a lot of notes that, I think Ben started these notes, and then I just went ham. So I have things to say,
Yeah.
definitely.
When I was at work one day and I'm looking for it now. I was scrolling through your notes because the notes you put on your app on like the iPad and the notes app carry over to your
Uh-huh.
phone. So I was at work on the clock, not doing my job, looking through your notes and was like, "Oh, I just wrote something on it." Uh, and was reading your like the little thoughts you had, and like one of them, I don't even remember this, but you put Ben talking about blonde girl Jessica getting spit roasted. Don't know if he wants that on Hitbox Detective. LOL. Like you were just writing kind of anything and everything. You even
For
wrote
sure.
so different from The Last of Us. At this
Yeah.
point, this would have been our second sit down. You wrote, Josh gives me the creeps. Is he the killer?
I'm not saying I'm a genius and I'm great, but
Yeah, you did. You really did. Like anytime you thought something, you just wrote it down.
yeah. I know I mentioned up there, like, and we were talking about as far as like the gameplay and stuff. I wanted to provoke like a lot of drama in the cabin. I made that note.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to play through it the entire time, like antagonizing.
Yeah.
Like that. There is like an escape in video games with that I really like. Where like one time I played. I was playing this game called The Outer Worlds, and you play. It's like a space RPG where you're going to different planets, and I was like, for once, I'm not gonna play me. I'm gonna play Han Solo. So I'm gonna make this dude like a smooth talking marksman with pistols, but he has like terrible luck and things, or maybe like good luck, but like I forget. Like he wasn't like very intelligent at the same time. He was kind of just smooth talking, was really lucky, not the smartest guy, and this game has an interesting way of giving you that autonomy with those choices that you can make. And would you be open to playing more games like this? And if you played it, would you try to just do a full antagonist run?
I'm definitely open to playing more games like this. At least once I want to play the full antagonist run. I don't know about like next time or all the time, but one time, once
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah, because next up is the Quarry. And
I want to play that straight.
okay. Yeah.
But we're not hurting Brenda Song because I don't really care about all these actors, but we can't hurt Brenda Song.
Okay. She'll be the Ashley of this playthrough. She gets
Yeah.
protected. But to get back to talking about characters, we've kind of talked about Hannah and Beth enough.
Yeah.
And we've talked about, well, let's talk about Josh.
Okay.
I kind of understand his plight.
Yeah.
Like, these people killed his sisters, or at least created a ruse that got his sisters killed. But do you think Josh had underlying issues the whole time, or that were exacerbated? Like this was the oil on the flame?
Maybe.
Or do you think that it completely brought about his like almost like paranoid schizophrenic? I don't want to diagnose this character. I'm not a professional, but I think. I mean, what do you think about Josh?
I like Josh. I kind of see why Rami Malek would want this role too. It seems like right up his alley.
Mm-hmm.
He just seems conflicted. Like what you were just saying, I don't know which one it was. Like either way,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting to me. Like he's a complex character for sure. Because like I don't think he's like wrong. Well, he's wrong, but I don't think like this is like some crazy thing. Like sometimes, especially in like teen horror, like there's not like a real reason.
Yeah.
And like this dude has a motive, like his sisters, but I don't know if it was like an exacerbated illness or not. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I really liked about Josh's character was how when he hears that at the time they think Jessica is dead, he kind of like says like, "Wait, what?" Like he has a moment of clarity almost in the midst of all that, where like like in that moment, I don't think he was ever really trying to hurt anybody. He was just trying to pull this big elaborate prank with like his dad's camera equipment and lighting, and maybe like he was probably obsessed with doing that prank for a really long time, and that may have really kind of set him down this road. And personally, the reason I wanted to be like, let's talk about Josh like real deep is he might be the most interesting character out of everybody. I think I agree with you there.
Yeah.
And I've never seen Rami Malek in anything other than Until Dawn, and it makes
Have
me
you
want.
ever seen? Go ahead. No, sorry.
I was gonna say it makes me want to watch this movie. So I guess you're about to make a recommendation.
No, not at all. Have you seen Bohemian Rhapsody?
No,
Wow.
is it good?
No.
You don't like it? Okay.
Hot take.
I
I
thought
did not
people
enjoy
liked
that
it.
film. People like it. It's just not. It's like toast.
Toast.
Okay, like in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, how like the dad is just like these people are like dry toast.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
would
just
say that
bland.
Bohemian Rhapsody, yeah, dry. It's dry, but his performance is very good, and I've never seen Mr. Robot, but I hear he's really good in it.
Yeah, I've never seen. Yeah, I haven't seen anything he's acted in, but I do hear good things about Mr. Robot.
Well, he was really good in Gilmore Girls. That I can
Oh,
say.
he had a run on Gilmore.
He did. He's a
Yeah,
Gil Snore girl.
yeah. Gil Snore. Maybe one of the worst puns I've ever made.
I know that's a little inside joke. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. To let the audience in, Nikki puts on Gilmore Girls to go to sleep, and one day I made the terrible joke of being like, "The Gil Snore Girls," and somehow the stupidity of that has stuck around. But
Yeah.
it's cute.
Let's see.
Mike.
Can
Oh, sorry.
I was about to say, can we talk about Mike?
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's talk about Mike. What do you?
Mike is my. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. You go.
Mike is my favorite character, my least favorite character, all wrapped up in one.
How so?
He is so cute.
I
Seems
agree with you
sweet.
there. I get it.
Seems sweet. Kind of like he's always around, which I like.
He lost his fucking fingers and took it like a champ.
For sure. I'm very intrigued by Mike, and just playing as Mike was always a fun part.
Yeah. Yeah, when you go to
But
the big like insane asylum, I shouldn't say insane asylum, but the sanitarium.
Ben, I'm not that everyone's gonna be like, you canceled.
Yeah. Hey, dude, what if I got shadow banned? That would really slow down some progress.
Hey, I got shadow banned on TikTok, so it's okay.
Yeah, that was fun. That was wild. But
Anyways.
yeah, Mike, I agree. I think Mike's sections are really fun, and I think in terms of there being like kind of the A team. I think the A team is like him and Sam in terms of
For
like
sure.
trying to get everybody home. Uh, I liked his I respected his like I don't want to say his hustle, but like what he was doing because like I think the one chopping your fingers off in a heated moment to be like that's my only way out of this is a ballsy approach, and he never brought it up to anyone.
No.
He's
He
just
pulled some 127 hours shit
mm-hmm.
and was just like, let's move on.
Yeah, it was wild. But um, do you have any final thoughts on Mike before?
Oh my God. Ben, sorry to cut you off again, but Mike had the cheesiest lines. Can I read you?
Wait, did you write them
Wait,
down?
I wrote them down.
Yeah,
Okay.
please. I do remember there
But he
being some
does,
cornball lines.
well, he does say certain things like, you rock. He does save everyone, though, or at
Yes.
least in our playthrough.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. Is I think you end up sacrificing at the end. Well, no, cuz everybody can live. So I don't know how you make that happen. It might be you make the decision when Hayden is standing at the end and she's making the choice to either make a run for the door or distract the Wendigo to save Mike. And I think if you run with Hayden out of the house and leave Mike, Mike has an option to do something that's going to distract the Wendigo on his own and get him out of there.
Hmm.
And when we chose to just distract the Wendigo with Sam, that decision alone, I think, got her killed. So I think that's how Mike lived.
Yeah.
Because after that, he had a one-way ticket out of there.
I mean, I did like Mike though, so maybe it was my subconscious just saving Mike.
Yeah. You're like, Ben won't shut up about this girl's pants. I'm taking her out.
I know. She must die. I think that was it.
Yeah. Um, then, do you want to talk about Jessica? Because
Yeah.
she, for the longest time, I assumed was dead. She fell down an elevator shaft.
I know, in her underwear.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny because I think the beef between her and Emily, and because of
Hmm.
Mike, that mixed with like when shit starts getting weird, she thinks it's Emily, so she's standing outside talking shit, just yelling into the air, wild.
Hmm.
What did you think of Jessica?
I liked her a lot. I mean, she was the girl from Camp Rock who I really liked, so I was like, game for that. But no, I liked her. I liked her chaotic energy.
Hmm.
Which I liked her and Emily. Can we talk about them both at the same time, essentially?
Yeah, we can transition right into Emily.
Okay, cool. Because like I feel like Jessica and Emily are kind of like the same person,
Mm.
just different things happen to them.
Yeah, and they say opposites attract, so if they're very similar, they're probably gonna butt heads.
For sure. Like I think like with both those characters, it's funny if like we're comparing it to like a teen horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Usually there'd be just one of them, or Emma like or Jessica would be super sweet,
Mm-hmm.
or Emily would be super sweet. They're like both like really bitchy, which I
Mm-hmm.
loved.
Yeah, it did make them great.
And they were both like not making great decisions. I don't know if that had to do with me too and my chaotic energy. Well, you did
It
say I
may.
was like Emily,
Yeah.
which I was like, let's not take offense.
Yeah. No.
But
One, I think I wish Jess hadn't died for us because she went through a lot
yeah,
that night, and it would have been great to just bring her home. You know?
it wasn't her fault. She got dragged into this.
Yes. Yeah. Uh, but Emily does remind me of you, but I also thought Emily was really smart, and the kind of like her reaction, like she would like remember when Matt kind of left her. She got back with the crew and was like, "Yo, Matt left me for dead. Screw him." When they're like, "Where's Matt?"
Yeah.
I kind of get that perspective. If somebody, Matt, I know we made the decisions for Matt in these moments, but I feel like Matt kind of led two people astray and got somebody killed, if I'm being honest. But what I liked about Emily in particular was, oh man, I got distracted by Matt and forgot maybe. Damn. Wow, so weird. Oh, when Mike has a gun, when Emily gets bit and they don't know that the bites aren't infectious and she's not going to turn, they think because of like horror movies, of course, like something like this happening, there's a weird monster, you get bit by it, people start looking at you like it's the thing, you know? So Emily, again, almost similar to, I guess it's not the same as getting your fingers chopped off, but like she protested about it for a little while, but she kind of let that go and was just like, let's just get out of here. Instead of being like, y'all, especially Ashley was like, shoot her, Mike.
Yeah.
But
your girl Ashley wasn't very nice.
Yeah, Ashley, no, she wasn't. She was operating on fear the whole time.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you operate on fear, you make bad decisions you're going to regret. And that includes telling your friend to shoot your other friend. And then finding out. So when I first played the game, I shot Emily because I thought she was going to turn.
Oh, no.
And
that makes sense. I probably would have done that too if you didn't warn me about that.
Yeah, if I remember when afterwards there's the exploration moment and you find out that you like find that book from the stranger and you're like flipping through his notes and you see that the bites aren't infectious. And for us, Emily had the moment of like, y'all were going to kill me, you know? But when I did it, they were like, we killed Emily for no reason.
That's actually great though. I kind of, there's a part of me that's like, well, that would be fun.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I live streamed that whole thing, and I wonder if that's sitting anywhere on like a server somewhere.
Oh, that needs to go up on Hitbox Detect.
Yeah, go find it, rip it, and just throw it up.
Yes,
that would be funny. It was funny. This was the first game I bought when I first moved to Austin, Texas.
Wow.
And so when I was there, I like scrounged together a little money and was like, I'm going to buy Until Dawn. And I had Google Fiber. So I was like, I'm going to start streaming. And I streamed, and that was like, I broke clips out. I made little videos. It was funny.
That was your first foray into to the whole YouTube gaming.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It was honestly my attempt to get it started again when I moved to Austin, because I was doing stuff before I moved out there. But I don't know. I don't even know if those videos are still up. I'd have to check. But
cool though.
Yeah. But after so let's talk about Chris.
Okay.
Chris? I don't like Chris.
I don't either. I played him like a douchebag, and I stand by it. I don't like Chris.
Yeah, he hit Josh in the face with a wooden stick. Outside of that, he was annoying. And like from Jump Street, he was making like weird jokes, and he just, I don't know. I didn't like Chris. Maybe the show's right. Everybody hates Chris.
Yeah. Well,
what'd you think of Chris?
I don't like Chris. And I played him like that. Like I played him, like I said, I played him like a jerk because I didn't like him. I didn't like his face. I didn't like his weird teeth.
Weird teeth. Glasses were
Bad
too thick.
jokes. For
Bad
sure.
jokes. Chris, you're out. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate he lived.
I know, right? I tried to kill him. I tried to kill him twice.
Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you had him trying to blow his brains out instead of what was it? Kill Ashley.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was his way of like kind of repenting. He was like, oh, I'd rather take myself than kill her like I almost did.
Yeah. And I was like, do it. And the game would not happen.
Yeah, that would have
Because
been
they wanted that love story.
Yeah, they tried, but I probably I would imagine this game's rated M, but if they had done that, they would have been a little too dark, I think. You know, imagine like midway, dude just offs himself to save another life. That to me, that's really dark. I would be like, yo, dude, chill out.
Chill out. This is just a fun game.
Yeah. Woo. My mic hit my other mic.
Oh no.
But after Chris, let's talk about Ashley, because Chris had some heavy involvement with Ashley. Ashley liked him, and I don't get it.
I don't either. I don't understand. But Ashley's kind of okay. I know you like her. I know you were calling her Smashly.
I was.
I know you're a fan. But see, the thing is with Ashley, it's kind of, she's like a nothing burger, you know?
What do you mean? She was down to play with Ouija boards, and until things got wild, she like totally believed everything was gonna go well. She was a bit of a pessimist, but I like that she immediately leaned into all the spiritual stuff. Like she was like, "There's ghosts. We brought them here with Ouija boards. I'm seeing things." And she was always wrong, but I like that she leaned into that.
She's always wrong.
She was always wrong.
I like a woman. I don't know if you know this about me, but even in video games and characters, I like a woman that makes a decision, but is also like leans into who she is. Like that's why I like Emily, or that's why I like Jessica or Sam.
But what if that's what Ashley's doing?
She did not. She like doesn't. She's just. She's like this, but she still makes the wrong decision.
Okay. Yeah.
Like yeah.
I get that. I think her immediate like reactionary behavior gets her into trouble.
For sure. I mean, relatable, but also like not maybe the most compelling character.
Yeah. Yeah. I
also,
see what you're saying.
I could just be jealous because you have the heart for her, and I'm like,
Yeah, that's fair. So overall, you're not a fan? Not a fan of Ashley?
No, she's fine. She's this. She's fine.
Okay. Let's talk
she
about...
ain't Jessica, but she's fine.
Okay. What about Sam? Hayden Panettiere.
I like Sam.
Yeah. To me, Sam has Sidney Prescott energy.
100%. Except you don't take baths and put on headphones in a cabin.
Yeah, I think they did that because they want to sell games. They're like, Hayden Panettiere in a towel. You want to play? But yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, it's just a lesson for all of us out there, you know?
Yeah. I think, she had that, like, she showed up, she had her headphones in, she was looking out the window, she was listening to the radio, trying to figure out about her surroundings. She was immediately trying to go into like she knew going to this place, she was going to try to relax, but she knew she needed to be paying a little closer attention and be looking out. And I think that if it wasn't for her trying to save Mike in the end, putting herself above others, or sorry, putting herself below, putting others
I know
above
what you
herself.
mean.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Doing that. Ultimately, she's a ride or die. Unfortunately, she didn't get to ride anymore. She
She
died.
just got to die.
Yeah. But she was heroic, and I really enjoyed Sam.
Yeah, I would have preferred her and Mike to have like a
For real.
storyline, like a
Yeah.
love story, honestly.
Yeah. Like they're the only ones, like I feel like they happen to go to like the same college and they hook up later. You know what I
For
mean?
sure. Well, yeah.
Well, unfortunately the decisions we made led to Sam and
Well,
Mike never having that. But Sam
fine.
gets to walk around with you know what 8 fingers and have this crazy story, but know that when it comes to it, he's got what it takes.
Well, both of those characters stuck their necks out, where the other characters did not. So, kudos.
Yeah, everybody was, I think, out of the house except for those two in there with all those Wendigos.
Oh,
Mike's whole thing with like crushing the light bulb in his hand to expose because he saw that the gas was going. The way they did that scene, where it like would cut to him and he would like look and he's like, oh, and like communicated that he realized what was happening and put that plan together on the fly. That was pretty cool.
it was really cool. No, I like the way they did a lot of stuff like that too. It was like little nuances that are always cool in video games and always surprising to me.
Yeah, it's the details of the book. When they like tell you like this thing's happening while something else is kind of going on. It's
For sure.
I know that movies can do that and so can TV shows, but for you also to be always kind of like engaged because you don't know if like a decision's going to come that you have to make or something. But I don't know.
No, yeah, you have to keep engaged, which is nice about a video game. Like you can't really turn off mentally like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be engaged. It's like reading a book. If you don't do it, book doesn't get read.
You're not.
Yeah. There's something nice about that though, because you're not going
For
to
sure.
like fall asleep watching Stranger Things and miss like 3 episodes.
Bam.
I know. I'm so guilty of that. I'm
Calling
sorry.
yourself out like you're calling me out, but it's
Hey,
you.
I'm a man who recognizes his flaws. And that is
If
one of
that's a
them.
flaw, that's okay.
Yeah, well, hey, I got plenty. That's one of them.
You're perfect.
Ditto. And I mean that,
Gross.
but it is gross, yeah. So, what about the Washingtons? Kind of big picture, subtle character, no appearance, but they're talked about. I think it's interesting that they kind of made it all possible. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
they bought real estate in a real bad area. An area where cannibals are turning into Wendigos.
It's not their fault.
That's true. But
They
like,
just thought they were gonna have a cute cabin. Like,
yeah, but they and stash a lot of cool crap in it, Like there was like
yeah.
so many knickknacks and stuff laying around. And all the video equipment for Josh to use. Cuz I think we read a note where his dad was a detective, or not a detective, a director
A director.
of films. Thinking about Hitbox Detective. But he so like that made all that happen, and they had the house and kind of I I can't help but think like how did they feel about all of these people going back to their cabin where last year their 2 daughters passed away or were killed or whatever, nobody knows, they just went missing and no one's ever found them. Do you think they felt some type of way about them all going out to this cabin, or do you think like Josh smoothed that over, or
In my mind,
uh-huh.
they're like aloof.
Oh. Yeah, they're like, yeah,
They're
sure, go.
like, yeah, like they don't think twice about it
Mhm.
because they're like preoccupied, maybe.
Yeah. He's like, the Cameron or Kirsten Dunst's parents in Small Soldiers, where they're just like taking
Yeah.
sleeping pills and stuff and watching TV with the TV turned up real loud because the dad just got new speakers.
Yeah.
Just completely out to lunch.
100%. They're out to lunch.
And so this brings us to the last character, the Wendigos.
Hmm.
What do you think about the kind of third act twist of the Wendigos?
I mean, I appreciated it, but I don't think it was completely necessary. But I like that element. Like I think
Yeah.
like before the third act and before the Wendigos, that's a story. So I kind of liked that like twist that it was something more, something supernatural. It was just
Yeah.
added. Just an added
Yeah.
element.
And it also brought it full circle with Hannah being involved.
Hmm.
Almost, I know, based on who she killed, she didn't really get revenge in any kind of way.
Mm-mm.
But I wonder if that opportunity was there. Because who would she have to kill? Mike?
Oh, but you can't kill Mike. It wasn't Mike's fault.
You think Emily orchestrated that whole thing?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, I do. What do you think?
probably. She was probably like, she likes you, Mike. Like, this will be funny. Come on. He was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I guess. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, personally, I think I like a good third act twist with supernatural elements. Sometimes I think it's out of place. There's a game I'm thinking of right now, but I'm not going to spoil that for you because we're going to play it eventually. And I don't
Okay.
want you to know it has a third act twist. But I think this game, at least the way that they do it, they tied it in with Hannah and Beth. I think if they hadn't have done that and it was just Wendigos, then I'd be like, they're just,
Yeah.
it would be this other thing that was just thrown into that. But I think with the mines and how this stuff was happening, because like miners were trapped and 8 people and Wendigos came out and the curse of the mountain and all that stuff, like that's cool. And it plays into the environmental storytelling when you're going through the mine and you're finding these notes about stuff like that. And I don't know.
And it always implies that there's something more. Like from the beginning, it probably couldn't just be like Josh is like playing like Jigsaw
Mm-hmm.
because you get all the totems and like you said, you see all the stuff about the miners. Like there is like a bigger picture story
Mm-hmm.
going on, which is an interesting element because I don't know, it's just a little something extra. It's just a little something.
Yeah. They built this little world. Supermassive
Yeah.
Games made this little world where this whole story is being told. And I think it's cool that they're making another one because you get to see them kind of take, especially something they're calling a spiritual successor. So like it's going to have like a very like take that formula and just put it in another space with like different threat, different plot twist, something, break down the mechanics of it. And I'm so down to play that.
I am so game, pun intended. Really excited.
Well, hey, I think with that we can move on to our final thoughts.
Okay, let's do it.
So I know that we already rated Until Dawn and kind of like the overarching thing, but out of all the video games you've played, how
Yeah.
does this stack up? I know that you have very limited experience, but
I've only played the best of the best, So, yeah.
well, hey, so you've played Super Mario World and you're competent at it, and to a lot of people, that's the best video game ever made because it's
It is the best video game ever made.
not a lot. I don't think there's a lot of people that would argue with that like know what they're talking about. So when you told me your video game was Super Mario World, I was like, oh, she just knows to say that. But when I saw you play with Super Mario World, I was like, no, dude, like you're better than me. Like it would take me a while to know that game as well as you know it, and that's really cool.
Well, thank you. I've had to be very nice to you. I don't know. You're really. This is like, not to go on too much of a tangent, but like Super Mario World, like I'm known to if I have friends playing, I will be so like, no, you're doing it wrong, and like get like yell at them. But like video games are like this game is completely different. Like The Last of Us is completely different. So I'm not like it's hard to compare. It's apples and oranges. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like I
totally.
this is a story. The Last of Us is a story. But especially with Until Dawn,
Yeah.
like there it's clear that the creator's intentions are not just to play speed rounds and get all the Koopa Koopas and like
Set high scores.
yeah, that it's not like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. What was your question? It's just like
I
oh,
kind of threw out
comparing.
a wild question of how does this stack up in terms of, because I was gonna
Gotcha. How does
almost
it
like,
stack up?
yeah, if like I would almost take Super Mario out of the picture. It's like you either get, in terms of like a cinematic video game, you get stuff like a God of War or uh, The Last of Us or Ghost of Tsushima or Halo in its best moments and Gears of War at its best moments can do stories like that. The
Hmm.
the smaller condensed video game that's more like interactive film, still still super cinematic, but wanting to tell a story and just almost set, I don't want to say set gameplay to the side, but it's not. Super Mario is gameplay driven, you know. The whole
Yeah.
fun of it is navigating the level. Um,
But also you can know the you don't I don't know the whole story of Super Mario World, and I don't care.
yeah, yeah. It's
You know
it's
what?
the
Like for
polar
this, you need
opposite.
to.
Yeah, yeah, but still in the gaming space.
But where it stacks up to kind of answer your question,
Uh huh.
it's not The Last of Us. Like I feel like that's like God tier
Oh, okay.
video gaming. I don't,
Yeah.
but from my perspective, but
Yes.
like I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what this
No,
means.
I would
Don't
agree
come
with
at
you.
me.
It's just like, okay, cool. It's cool that you think that.
But it's just this game is fun.
Yeah.
I know what it is. I understand it,
Yeah.
and it does well at what it's trying to do, and I think it achieves what it's trying to achieve. So,
Well, looking forward to playing the Quarry with you.
I know me
It
too.
comes out 2 days. So tomorrow, in 2 days. So tomorrow's Thursday. It's date night, and then we have our date night, good times, good food. Then Friday, the Quarry, and also the Northman shows up tomorrow. So
Oh, to
looking forward.
quote Mario, let's go.
Yeah, as soon as we wrap this up, we can go to sleep and get to that. So, Nikki, thank you so much for joining me today. Let the people know where they can find you and what you have going on.
Well, thank you so much, Ben, for having me. And I hope I didn't talk over you and talk ad nauseum, but thank you so much
Same.
for having me. You can find me at Nikki Jensen on all platforms and follow or subscribe or Late to the Party Pod. Late to the Party on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
Yeah, definitely do that. Late to the party. Every time I listen to it, it opens me up to how dorky and granular I can get about video games. You're like that about like Limited Two's summer collection from like 2008 or something. Like
Yeah.
it's really interesting to hear you and Bree talk about the things that you grew up loving and you can tell are so passionate about, and you really do your research, and it's an interesting show. So definitely, for what it's worth, my recommendation is check out Late to the Party. Don't hesitate.
Well, if you're perpetually like your mind is in 2002, like my mind is, then check it out.
Yeah, definitely do that. So thank you so much for listening. Again, if you enjoy review discussions and spoiler casts like this, you can show your support by simply subscribing to Hitbox Detective on YouTube and by following me on Twitter at Hitbox Detective. Again, thank you so much for your support. Take care of yourselves, and remember, lead with love and stay hydrated.